Okay, this is a video script for my sister Janet's workout video and the explanation of Dimmak Kung Fu and Tai Chi. So I'm going to give you the first posture of Tai Chi. There's 38 of them. And what the first posture is comprised of is something, when it's a single posture, it's called Qi Gong. So we're going to do is we start with our feet together. In ancient times, or if I had my class here, you'd see like 30 or 40 people, and they would all take their foot, step to the left, bend down, bring their arms up to their shoulders, just like their hands resting on a wave, and a deep belly breath. Not a lung breath, but a belly breath. Now, for years I was teaching this in White Rock to elderly people, some people in a wheelchair, and what I'm not showing you here is the leg movement. Okay? But just visualize that I'm sitting down like this without a chair with my legs parallel, and if you hold that for about 3 minutes, your legs really start to burn. Now, what's the benefits of doing that? It's called blood warming, and it creates a mixture in the legs. What do we call it? Forgive my stutter here, it's just B-roll script. When you create tension on the legs, dynamic tension, you're not stressing the muscle or working the joint, but you're also creating red and white blood cell stimulation. Red and white blood cell stimulation is really important for immunity systems. When you take the drug for HIV or AIDS, it actually stimulates the marrow in your legs. So in Chinese Kung Fu they call it marrow washing. So for 3 minutes you sit in a squat like that. Now if I was doing extreme Tai Chi, I'd be coming up and back down. And you keep your back really straight while you're doing the posture. Okay? So the first posture is called preparation. The side angle, preparation looks like this. And again, a single posture is called Qi Gong. So if you're lifting, it's teaching you proper ergonomics. If you have a back injury from work, chances are you need to straighten your posture in your back and just work those legs. And already I can feel a little burn in my legs, so don't underrate Tai Chi. You can break somebody in 3 minutes just simply by sitting in that posture. You'll feel the leg burn. So actually try it for 3 minutes and see what that does. In China there's people that can do that all day long, and I don't know a single Westerner that can do it for 5 minutes. Okay? So that's segment 1, preparation. Now, part 2. With ergonomics in mind, Tai Chi postures have a shift and a flow. Like that. Okay? Now if you're going to the gym and you're going to do lifting weights, you're going to try to find good form and good timing and everything like that. In the Tai Chi, they don't go to the gym, they actually do physical exercise that's going to make a difference in your everyday life. So there's nothing more embarrassing than seeing a guy with arms this big that can't pound a nail. So he's got these big arms and he's standing there trying to hit it like that. Well, it doesn't work. When you see the Tai Chi postures like the fade backs, there's flow. And when I take my whole body and I throw this hammer into a hit, of course these postures can become really pretty. And also what you're teaching is consistency and accuracy. So every time that hammer I'm using is going to hit the same place. So if I show up with big muscles and I try to just hammer like this, I'm doing a lot of damage to my joints. I can take all of that motion, kinetic energy, and drive it through my hips, turning of my shoulders, It actually feels good. It feels like somebody's working my body like a registered massage therapist. So I'm turning and hitting. Now, over the years I've worked out with a lot of big strong guys, and it's great. Size does matter and strength does help. But if you don't have that, if you try to throw an arm punch like this, you're just working the arm and exhausting the arm. But if you take the whole body and you strike, lock your ankle into the ground, that hit is explosive. You can actually shake a cinder block wall if you get that full turn, drive, and motion. And again, when you see Tai Chi postures, the whole body shifts and turns. So again, starting with the first posture, it's called preparation, which is a pretty good standard. The next posture is called think while moving. I shift and I turn and I'm holding on to a beach ball. Now, if I do that with an elderly person for a Qigong exercise, I'm shifting my whole body, holding on to this beach ball. So oftentimes you'll see people in a gym with a medicine ball and they're passing it back and forth to each other. Sometimes in short, choppy little movements like that. There's nothing wrong with strengthening your whole body while you're doing your position. So posture number one, preparation. Next one, put your hand under your chin. We call this think while moving, and then it presses ahead. Okay, so that's postures 1 and 2. 1, 2. The next posture after that is called rock the baby. Rocks back and presses ahead. Looks like this. Okay, so I'll just show you where you're headed for your next lesson. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay. To add the martial side of that lesson, we know that body rotation for a punch is critical. Oftentimes in Tai Chi, it's a fade back, blocking the punch, and a counter. Now, we're going to move quickly on to Wing Chun, which is a shorter, more compact system. It was designed for women, and the first punch looks like this. It's very short, but there's that same kinetic motion of twisting the body, and you're working your abs. Every time you throw a punch, you tense your abs up, so it goes bang, like that. Okay? And again, try to keep your back straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you do 100 of those ruffle punches every day, adding a little bit of tension, don't lock your whole elbow out, but a little bit of tension, you'll notice a real strengthening in your shoulders. Okay? Now, the punch coming out looks like you're pedaling a bicycle, but you're adding tension and you're putting tension in on your abs while you're doing that. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3. You do 100 of those, and then we add what's called a simultaneous block counter. So instead of going block, hit, we block and hit at the same time. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or we can break it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so these aren't real lessons. These are just precursors for the lessons that I'm going to be doing with my sister Janet, with multiple cameras around, so you get to see every angle. Cameras up top, cool stage set, good music, everything looking pretty, right? Going through the motions of all this. My sister's much better looking, so it will go great. Okay, also in this posture, when you see this coming up, when you see the people doing it slow, it looks really, really pointless. When you see it from the side and it being done really quick, it goes snap like that, and it sort of pulls a person forward. Now, if you want to understand Dimmak, or what a meridian is, just go right behind the little part in your elbow, grab a hold of that and pinch it, okay? That's a meridian point. Somebody puts you in a headlock and you hit that, or you snap up and strike it here. It's like hitting their funny bone, and they're gonna feel an electrical disruption. Just take your knuckle and start tapping around in there until you feel a tingling in your pinky, okay? So striking up like that with the double knuckles, instead of doing it like a slow person, you go bang, bang. It actually strikes in underneath here, sends an electrical disruption here, and it makes the person feel like they don't want to fight anymore, okay? So that's running along an interior meridian, and just pinch behind your elbow and you'll sort of get the idea what that's like. When I'm working at a nightclub and a guy throws a right hook and I come in and I do that strike onto that point there, he just wants to go home. It's all over. And I'll be doing that with a demonstration of a larger person with a smaller person. That first strike going into this point, you can just take your knuckles and tap around in here and it really hurts. The next one is up here. This is called lung 2. Lung 1 is right here. You can push on it, or you can go to lung 2 and roll around here, and you feel it actually makes your body feel kind of weak. That's for the destructive purposes. In my case, I have an ailing parent that's got lung cancer, so what I'm going to do with him, I want to work on massaging those lung meridian points and massaging them from the back. So when he wakes up in the morning congested, I want to get him breathing, and I want to go in and I want to get those lung circulations going from lung 1 and into lung 2. So I want to give him a good rigorous rub down. And for some of you who are young and anxious and you don't really want to learn about old people Tai Chi, we all age and we're all going to end up with aging parents at this point in our life. So it is important to learn how these expansion exercises work and where the lung meridian, starting with lung 1, lung 2, lung 3, how they work and how important they are to just doing this with a family member, somebody with pleurisy or whatever. You want to be striking onto that lung 2. Okay, just tapping on there. Lung 1, lung 2. And again, if you're a martial arts person, just take your thumb and tap in right there until you find it and you'll feel it. And then take your knuckle here and strike in on lung 2. So again, you see you do that double strike into somebody at a nightclub or in the street. It's more than just a hit. It's actually going into that meridian and it's convincing their brain they don't want to be there anymore getting hit. Okay? It's a lot better to hit lightly and convince the meridians that the brain doesn't want to be there. Convince the brain through the meridians that it no longer wants to fight. Otherwise you're violently clubbing a rented mule. So it's better to just hit those points, end it quick, minimize the damage, and get out. So that's the martial arts lesson of this, okay? When you see that, it's actually a meridian point right in here that's being struck when it's in a fighting application from Tai Chi. So a little old guy might look pretty timid, but he's got that meridian knowledge behind him. If he's been to China and he's trained at Wutan Mountain, which is where I'm coming from here. So again, this is just being pre-scripted for my sister, so it'll have to be rewritten, but you've got some footnotes.